Your 21st XHTML and CSS tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to introduce a concept with CSS that tends to give people a lot of trouble. And the reason for this is that people tend to explain this in it's not the most easiest concept to grasp, but it is critical whenever you're creating a website and you need to position elements exactly how you want them. So anyone I ever heard that tried to explain this to me did a pretty terrible job. So I'm going to try and clear everything up for you. So whenever you have an element on your screen like a header, let's go ahead and put a header to, and let's write I love Bucky. That's good enough. I love Bucky. And let's go ahead and check this out right now. Whenever we have any element basically on the screen, we look at this element and say, oh, this is nice. Text on the screen. That's all I see. But check it out, and here's where I'm going to throw you for a loop. This one element actually consists of 4 different parts. Now, we already know that the text, and that is called the content. But what you don't see is the 3 other parts, and that's because they're all white right now, so they're kind of hard to see. But there's actually the content, which I just showed you was a text, the padding, which we're going to be going over this tutorial, and the padding is basically this. See this blue that I just highlighted and everything turned blue? Well, if you could go ahead and draw a box around here and make a border, the padding would be the space between the text and the border. And that brings me to the third part, which is actually the border. And the margin is a space outside the border. So anyways, the space between the text itself and this little line, the border, that is called the padding, and that is what I'm going to show you guys in this tutorial. So let's go ahead, and the first thing that we need to do is change this from a white padding to a white background, because how the heck are we going to be able to tell what's going on there? So the first thing that we need to do is change the background color. So in order to do that, go ahead and type the element you want to work with, H2, and let's just go ahead and put background color, and don't put something too dark, because black on something dark is just gonna look bad. So put like something like yellow or pink or orange maybe. So I'm gonna go ahead and put yellow, and let's save this and see what we got. So now that might be a little easier to see the some background other than white. So now we can see that we have our content, and we don't have a whole lot of space between the edge of this yellow and the text. It's pretty much butted up right up against the edge. So if you're saying, alright, I have this background, but I basically want to add some padding between the text and the background. So in order to do that, I mean, you guys can probably figure out what's going to happen right now. But you can either do this in one of 2 ways. You can either change the overall padding by typing the keyword padding and setting it equal to a value like 20 pixels. So let's go ahead and save this and see what happens. Whenever we refresh this, you see that we get a nice little pad between our text and the edge of our border, and that is actually 20 pixels on either side. 20 pixels on bottom, 20 pixels on top, 20 pixels on left, and 20 pixels on right, even though there's like 100 pixels because it's the width of the screen. But anyways, 20 pixels of padding all the way around. But now you're saying, alright, I mean, so right now you can basically understand what padding is. It's the space between the text and the border of whatever you're working with. But you're saying, alright, I understand padding, simple enough. But now, what I want to do is I want padding, but I don't want it all the way around. Maybe you only want padding on the top and bottom. Well, in order to do that, this isn't going to work anymore, because this gives you padding all the way around. In order to change the padding in any one direction, they give you 4 keywords that you can use: padding top, padding bottom, padding left, and padding right. So let's go ahead and change it on top and bottom. Padding minus top, definitely spelled that wrong. Padding top, let's go ahead and add like 30 pixels. And for the padding bottom, let's go ahead and add like, I don't know, 20. Pick anything you want. Who the heck cares? And let's go ahead and make sure you put pixels. And save this and see what happens. So now when we refresh this, we see, I forgot my values already, 30 and 20. We got 30 pixels of padding on top and 20 pixels of padding on bottom, and no padding to the left. So maybe when I do this, you can see more clear what is padding and why it is helpful. So, anyways, whenever you want to, how should I say this? Place items on your website very specifically, padding comes into play a lot. So, whenever you just want that header, but just a couple pixels to the right, that is when you can use padding. So, anyways, the next thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is borders and margins, and they're a lot different than padding, although a lot of people get them confused. So don't forget to watch my next couple tutorials, and that's it. I'll see you guys later.